Hi, thank you for being here with me today. Is there something that you would like to talk about? Is there anything that you've been struggling with?
I'm having a really hard time recently with everything that's been going on with COVID. Um, Thankfully, I just got vaccinated, so hopefully that will help.
So, during COVID, what was something that you struggled with back when it was a lot more hard and when we were in isolation and we were quarantining?
I had a really hard time because I was by myself and I saw no one for a really long time. And it made me feel like I was just alone and I didn't have anyone to talk to unless I texted them.
That is really hard when you're dealing with that and feeling alone during that. I felt that too. What was something that made you feel better during that time? Was when you reached out to people, did they reach back? Like, what was something that helped you deal with the issues that you were struggling with?
Something that I found that was really helpful was FaceTime because it was the most a real thing that we could do at that time, seeing other people's face and also going on walks and seeing other people out um, and getting fresh air was something that I really enjoy doing.
Yeah, I did, that's really good for you to do during that. What was something that did you do to distract yourself? Did you have any work going on?
Well, during the time we had to do school online and then I had summer class. So at least I was staying busy and that helped distract me.
How was it navigating school when you first started the transition from in person to online?
It was really hard at first, but with time management, it helped.
Is there still anything that you're struggling with now currently since quarantine and isolation?
Something that I'm still struggling with is just everything still being online school related. It just isn't the same learning by yourself and not having that in person interaction with like a professor.
It is really hard not having that in-person reaction and everything. But with the transition and everything, how have you been coping with it now since isolation? Are you doing better?
Now, I've been living at school with friends, so that's been really nice to have other people around and being able to interact with people in person has made a huge difference.
It is really nice having people around and being able to interact. Do you feel that you can talk to your friends when you're struggling with an issue?
Yeah, my friends are a huge support system.
Is there anything on top of COVID that has made something that you're already struggling with worse? Like, is there anything else that you're still struggling with that is like because of COVID, but it's still affecting you other than the isolation and the schoolwork?
Something that was really stressful to me was not having in-person graduation, but that's recently been resolved. So I'm really thankful and looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's really nice. And that's good that they're allowing that and allowing you guys to have that in person. Is there anything else that you are wishing that you could do or something else that is hard for you not having because of COVID and not having all the in-person stuff?
Um, Another thing is I just really haven't seen my grandparents since all of this started. And I feel like since they're grandparents, we don't know how much time we have left with them. So thinking about that is really upsetting just because they're nervous about going outside and stuff like that.
Yeah, that is really upsetting and hard. But have you been able to communicate with them over the phone? Like, have you been able to FaceTime and still keep in contact with them?
Yeah, we talk over the phone a lot, which is really nice.
Hmm. Okay, well, that's good. Is I know COVID has caused a lot of stress for everyone and like all the in person and isolation. Is there anything else aside of COVID that you're struggling with? Because I know a lot of the times it's easy to talk about just COVID because that's present, but aside of COVID, is there anything else that you're struggling with that you feel like you have a hard time telling people or you just have a hard time talking about that you would like to talk to me about?
Let me think. Well, I'm really struggling with trying to find a job, and that's really stressful because I feel like everyone around me has a job, and I just don't want to be the one left behind.
That is really stressful, but I know that it's a stressful time for everyone right now. And with COVID, it's making it a lot harder. But I think it is really normal for people to not have a job right outside of college, and that's okay. And it can be easy to get discouraged with everything, but it's okay. But what are you wanting to do?
I'm wanting to work with adults that have mental illness or substance use disorder.
Okay, so when you're working with those clients, is it hard for you mentally? Is there anything that you struggle with when you're working with those clients?
No, I find it inspiring to see like where people start and then where they end up.
Well, that's really nice. What is like, if you ever have a hard time when you're dealing with those, because I know sometimes like when you're seeing people dealing with mental health, how do you cope with that? How do you cope with dealing with a stressful day? How do you cope with um, seeing other people having a hard time, like if you're trying to help them?
I cope with that by going home and leaving my work at work and separating my work from my home life. And when I come home, that the work day is over and that is my time to myself to de-stress before the next day.
Okay, yeah, those are all really good methods. Do you feel that you have a good self-care plan that you can turn to when you're dealing with stressful times at work or in your current, like, or in your future job?
Would you say self-care?
Yeah.
Yeah, something that I've always liked doing is going on walks outside and reaching out to others just to let them know like this is going on, and that I am having a rough time. And something else that I really like to do just to clear my head is just taking a nice shower and just like taking a deep breath and relaxing.
Yeah, those are all definitely really good ways of self-care. It's super important when you're dealing with like really stressful issues and hard topics to deal with. But I'm glad that you have a form of self-care that you feel that you can turn to. So, what has been struggling about the job hunt? Why has it been hard for you?
I feel like it's hard just because there's so many people right now that because of COVID haven't gotten a job from last year. So there's a lot more people that are looking for a job right now.
Hmm. Yeah, there is a lot of people looking for a job right now, so it's definitely hard. Has there anything that you've been doing in the meantime to figure it out or kind of plan ahead?
Well, each day I've set a goal for myself to apply to at least 2 jobs. So that's been helpful. And I've gotten a few interviews.
Well, that's really good to set goals and set down and have a routine. Do you feel that setting goals helps you deal with the stress and kind of the struggles that you are going through when trying to find a job?
Yeah, for sure. Doing just setting goals allows me to like know that I'm in control of it too, like, and that it's all going to work out in the end.
Yeah, definitely. Having a routine and setting goals is really important and good, and that's good that you're doing that. Well, is there anything else that you feel you're struggling with, or do you think is that all?
um I don't think so, but I'm just glad to know that I'm not the only one that's struggling with everything that's going on with COVID.
Yeah, for sure. You definitely aren't the only one. Everyone has all these struggles, so it's not just you. But I'm glad you're going on walks, and I'm glad you have a good self care plan, and I'm glad that you're setting goals for yourself, and you have people that you feel that you can turn to in these tough times.
Yeah, that's really nice to hear that reassurance.
Yeah. So, well, thank you for talking to me and talking to you about talking about your struggles. So, thank you.
Thank you.